Okay, so I have realized recently why I have been exhausted most of my life, even before kids, is because I had this specific definition of success, and that success being living up to your full potential. And because I was one of those people that heard oh, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do, that kind of thing. And in fact, what I do right now is stay home with my twin 2-year-olds, and I work part-time, which is very exciting that the Lord has given me this opportunity to work part-time in ministry, while also taking care of my daughters. But I just have felt like my whole life, oh, I can't wait to see what you're gonna do, you're so smart, whatever, all the things. And then now it's the time where I should be living up to that potential and people seeing what I've done. And there are some things, but I'm realizing it's never going to be enough, right? There's this idea of living up to your potential is nowhere that I have found. You can correct me in the comments, I'm sure, if I'm wrong, but this idea of living up to my full potential is not in the Bible. At the very least, it is not in the Sermon on the Mount, which is what I've been obsessed with recently as I've been trying to redefine in my brain what success is, and how to kind of function on a daily basis, and at the end of the day feel okay, today was a success. Because I actually don't think that the desire in us humans to want to at the end of the day go, okay, today was a good day, today was a success, I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's wrong. I think that what gets wrong and is bad is when how we define that end of the day, okay, I've been successful, is really off and is unobtainable, and unrealistic, and not what God wants, which would make it ungodly, which feels strong. But so anyway, I have been looking at the Sermon on the Mount. I'm going to give you a really practical example. For example, Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, where Jesus is talking, and he says in verse 8, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." And if you look at all of the Sermon on the Mount, it's just very anti-culture when Jesus was alive and saying this around 33, 35 AD, whenever it was. It's very anti-culture now as well. Very anti, how would we view success? And so I've taken this specific verse, pure in heart, and kind of tried to couple it with the verse where Jesus says, "My burden is easy and my yoke is light." And I've kind of really this whole sermon section, if that makes sense. I've taken, okay, what does that mean? My burden is easy, my yoke is light. And helped let the Sermon on the Mount help me define what that might mean. And there are other verses that could help you, but this is just what I'm focusing on right now, is the Sermon on the Mount. And so if Jesus' burden is easy and his yoke is light, what does that mean? What does that look like? It means that throughout my day, whatever I'm doing, I need to do that with a pure heart throughout my life. Whatever I'm doing, whatever goal I'm trying to achieve, if I'm doing that with a pure heart, then at the end of the day, regardless of outcome, regardless of what other people think, regardless of if people think I've lived up to my potential, if I think I've lived up to my potential is more so the thing. If I've done it with a pure heart, then I'm going to see God. That's the goal, right? That should be the goal. And if that's not the goal, then I need to be honest with myself that that's not my goal, and ask the Lord to help me shift my goal. And so on days that I'm getting to do a speaking engagement, or I'm getting to share or talk to someone, or on days that I'm sitting across from athletes and I'm explaining the gospel to them or helping them grow in their faith, that day is not a success because I got to do a speaking engagement or because I got to sit across from athletes. That is only a success if I do those things with a pure heart, right? It would be not a success, actually, for me to sit across from athletes and talk about Jesus and talk about how to motivate them in their faith and all of this, but all the while I'm doing it to feel good about myself, to feel like that I'm making an impact, to feel like I'm really making a difference. Like, I understand, don't mishear me. Like, we need to have like purpose. It's like human nature to like want to have purpose, and we want to steward well the gifts that we have been given. And sometimes, especially in ministry, that's gonna look like making an impact, and it is encouraging to hear when you've made an impact on someone. But that being said, like, I don't get to the end of my day. This is what I'm learning. I don't get to the end of my day and go, okay, today was a good day. It was a success. And I lived up to like who I'm supposed to be and the gifts that I've been given, because today was the day I got to do like ministry, or I got to like speak on a stage or in front of people, or I got to, whatever. That only works if I had a pure heart, and I only get to say that. Right? And so that means that on days where I'm not leaving my house, and the divine appointments that the Lord has given me on those days is to make breakfast, do snack time, do nap time, do lunch, like all of that, sit down, stop in my to-do list, sit down, read a book, like, if I'm doing that with my children, when I say read a book, not that I don't read, but anyway, so that is a success, and that's me I'm living up to my full potential. I'm doing what I need to do if I do all of that with a pure heart. So I get to the end of a day where I don't leave my house, but I'm just with my children all day. I cook dinner for my family. That day is only a success if I do all of that with a pure heart, right? So it's not just like, oh, well, I did those things and that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, if I do it with a pure heart, then I will see God. I'll see him at work. I'll be more aware of him. That's the success, right? And so then by that measure, if what I'm trying to do every day is to do something with a pure heart, then it doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing, because my heart is what God cares about, right? And God doesn't, there's no, like, that is the, like, if we want to use the word potential, we want to live up to, because everyone has unique divine purpose, and everyone's purpose is to be ultimately who God created them to be, which is enjoying God and reflecting his glory. And so if I'm doing things with a pure heart, I'm on my way to living up to my potential that my creator created me with, right? It doesn't have to do with like my brain or my mind or my problem solving abilities or my ability to minister or any of those things. Am I doing what the Sermon on the Mount says? Am I living life that way? Am I approaching life that way? Okay, well, that's where God's going to say, hey, great job. That's where I get to feel that Jesus' burden is easy and his yoke is light, when I'm focusing on those things. So hopefully that was helpful for you too. If you are in a season where you're like, I don't know that I'm living up to my potential. It's not that we don't work hard. That's not that we don't celebrate success whenever we work hard, but it can't be the thing that we're working for, right? Like it can't be the ultimate thing. We can get disappointed when we are not successful, when something doesn't go the way that we want. Like, I think it's okay to like be like, let me reflect on that. Let's see what we can do differently, all of that. But I really think what has to drive us is Jesus. And how that works itself out in some ways is like letting the Sermon on the Mount or the Beatitudes redefine what it means to like feel like the day was successful. So hopefully that's helpful, and I hope you all have a great weekend.